Good morning, everyone. Welcome to TestRay's exclusive webinar on breaking QA barriers. Empower your team with TestRay Test Management solution for Jira. My name is Karthik Subramanian, Product Marketing Head for Goldfinger Holdings, and I'm thrilled to be your host today. Along with me is JD Ma, the Product Owner for TestRay. Before we dived into the exciting content, I like to establish few housekeeping rules. One, we will have this session recorded. So if at all you missed any part of it or you want to revisit the content, we will have it in your inbox after the event is over. And we also wanted you to ask questions. And in order to make it better, we would expect you to drop it in the QA box so that we can address them at the end of the session. Just to give a background about who we are as a company, Goldfinger Holdings is a forward-thinking tech company, and we are dedicated in fostering innovation and a culture of exceptional workplace environment. So, over the last 15 years, we have experience in creating innovative solutions in the Atlassian suite. Our products are being utilized by countless organizations across the globe to enhance their workflow, their task automation, and data-driven insights. A quick background about TestRay. TestRay is a test requirement and test management solution. It's in the Atlassian Jira, which seamlessly integrate test case management, test planning and execution, or test requirement management, and test data management. In short, it will make a Jira a single place to track all developments and testing activities. Um, Now we have an established speaker, JD Ma, who has extensive experience as being a QA professional, and today he's going to enlighten us about how we can leverage Jira for test management.
Thank you, Karthik. Okay, let's start. So first of all, let's start from, what is software testing? It's chaotic and unpredictable problems. You say when we are talking about test management and continuous testing, we always met this problem, that problem. For example, we need a standard tool to standardize the testing process, but sometimes it is so difficult because staff team, they are using a different system to track the defects and tasks, but testing team, they need another tool to manage the test cases, test artifacts, etc. And also you say, since the product is more and more complicated after each iterations, we usually don't have enough testers to cover the test scenarios, and we have to develop more and more test cases, but we don't have enough resources to execute these test cases. And also for the testing infrastructure for different organizations that use different systems is really difficult for all teams work together in a standard way. So let's say inside Atlassian suite, especially for Jira, nobody says that Jira can be used to do test management, including the test case management and planning. Why Jira cannot do that? That is because there are a lot of challenges for Jira to do test management. For example, Jira doesn't have any concept for folder structure to manage data. Manage data means for testing team, we need to manage our test case data, right? Test execution data, test plan data, etc. So Jira doesn't have such kind of concept. And also Jira doesn't have any concept for reuse issues. That means the test case need to be reused in multiple test plans and executions. So Jira doesn't support that. So in Jira, everything is just a flat list. All the data, they are managed into a flat list. You can only tag by like components or labels or whatever, customer fields, but there's no visible structure there. There's no folder structure, there's no hierarchy. Everything is just a flat list. This is the biggest challenge for any testing team to be involved inside Jira to manage test. This is where TestRay comes in to get rid of all these problems and make sure that the QA team can be fully moved from other system into Jira to manage all testing stuff. So let's see, the first part for TestRay is test case management inside Jira. So TestRay provide test suite and test cases in Jira to make sure that the test keys can be organized into a folder structure. So let's see, test suite is something like a folder. So inside the test suite, you can create a subsuite, and then you can put your test cases, and then you can keep going to create another subsuite and then test cases. Finally, your test cases will be organized into a folder structure. On the right side, this is an example captured from TestRay product from Jira. You see there's a test case repository called flight reservation system. Inside this flight reservation system test suite, we created different levels of folders, and then at the bottom, we put some test cases there in order to make sure that our test cases are organized in a logic way, so that in the execution part, the same structure will be reflected in the test plan cycle so that user can execute the test case from top to the bottom. So everything is organized in a logic way. So for the second part of TestRay, we provide test plan, test cycle, and test run to make sure the test executions can be done inside Jira. That means the test case can be reused by creating multiple executions, and result can be recorded there independently. We have test plan, and start from test plan, you can create multiple cycles to make sure the planned test cases be executed via multiple iterations by using these test cycles. And all these test suite, or you can call it a test case repository, the structure will be reflected there in the cycle in order to guide tester to execute them from the top to the bottom in a logic way. On the right side, it is captured from TestRay. It is a test cycle, shows that how executions organized into a folder structure and how results is identified and tester information and also execute button in order to launch executions. The third part TestRay provided is that the connection between your requirements to tests. From requirements, you can see the test cases created by testing team. And if you go further from a test case, you will see the different results from each different test plans and cycles to make sure the result is trackable from your requirement. And on the right side, you will see all the defects reported from these test cases. In other words, all these defects are reported against this particular requirement. This is a high-level structure of the TestRay product. We provide test case management, we provide test planning and execution, we provide connection between requirements and tests. So this list shows how a test management solution within Jira will empower QAs. So our plugin TestRay helps user to cover all these items to make sure that the testing team, the product team, the dev team, they can all work together just inside one Jira shop. No need to divide them to different systems. All the data, they are managed inside Jira. Testing stuffs and requirements and dev tasks and defects. They are all inside Jira and connected from each other. Okay, now is a demo time. I will show you a live demo about how these three parts work together inside Jira. Now let me switch to my Jira demo instance. So first of all, let me launch a Jira project, which is named Flight Reservation System. And as I mentioned, if we are going to do test case management, we have test suites concept. So test suite page here is the central space in the Jira to manage your test cases. In other words, this page is help user to build your test case repository. You can create each different test suite to cover each different application or modules or whatever you want. It depends on your needs. So let me launch flight reservation system, this test suite, to see how test cases are organized there. And this is the structure of my test case. You see, you can create different levels of subsuite, and then you can put your test cases inside the structure. The structure is so important is because all the test cases need to be organized in a logic way, right? For example, you have to log in first. That is the first test case. And then you can test other features. So login, definitely it will be on the top. So that's why we have this folder structure to make sure the test case is organized in a logic way. To create a test case is quite simple. Actually, this is Jira, right? So you can create whatever you want from here. But for testing team, we recommend the user to create from the structure directly. Let's say for validate bank in this folder, I want to create a new test case. You can say it is my first test case. It's quite easy. So test case is a Jira issue. So it is quite similar as how you create other issues. Now let me finish my creation. You see, once the test case is created, this test case will be structured here in this validate bank folder. It's quite easy. And sometimes you see we need to adjust the structure of our test cases. You can simply drag and drop like this way. It's so easy there. So beside these operations, so testing team need a lot of other user-friendly features to make sure that they can manage test cases with an easy way. So we provide these link existing test cases to the structure. We can help user to add another level of suite, and you can move or copy this folder to a different location to restructure your test cases. You also can import your test cases from a Excel file or CSV file. I mean, you can import your test cases from external system. We also support, export the test cases to a CSV file or other format. So to help user creating test case easier, you can also use this clone option to clone a test case and then just do some modifications to make sure that the duplicated test case can be used for the new test scenario. So this is how test case management works. Now, let us go inside a test case to have a quick look. This is one of my test cases I just opened from my test case repository. So all these standard fields, they are from Jira, but we provide some additional panels to hold testing related data. So the first panel is test step. It is quite similar as other tools. We have ID, we have step, we have expected result, etc. And you can clone a step, you can edit a step, you can add a new step. It's quite simple. It's similar as other popular tools. So on the right side, we provide a requirement panel to help user connect these test keys to your existing requirement. In other words, you can consider this test case is created to test this particular requirement. So test suite panel tells user that what is the location of my test case in my test case repository. Click on this link. It will tell you that, okay, this test case is under this subsuite, and this subsuite is part of credit card validation, etc. So you can get the path or location of your test case easily. So usually when we open our test case, we definitely want to check the execution history That's why here we have test plan panel to show the execution history from each different test plans and cycles. If you see this red icon, it means a result and it is failed. So you also can get tester information. So if you want to get further information about which step is failed or what is the execution details, just click on that. It will take you to test case run or execution details dialog box. You can read when this test case has been executed, who did that, and what is the defect, or even more, which step is failed, or maybe there are some attachment, for example, logs or screenshots or whatever. All this information can be read directly here. So if the test case has been executed many times, and maybe there are a couple of defects reported, just go to this view all defects. Then all defects reported from this particular test case will be listed here. So we connected everything from test case to requirement to test plan to execution and to defect. They are all connected together. So now let's go back to my test case repository again. So let's say the testing team has created a lot of test cases and managed in these test cases from a test case repository, or you can call it a tester suite. Then the next step or the next part is going to do tester planning and execution. So let's expand here. We have test plans page from where you can see all your ongoing test plans. So if I expand my test plan, I will see all the test cycles there. Now let me open this test plan issue. Test plan is also a Jira issue, so we just add some additional panels in order to cover testing related data. So test case panel here helps user to define test scope. So for testing team, define test scope means choose your test cases from your test case repository, right? We give you different options. You can use search to find your test cases, or you can add your test cases from your requirement, and you also can pick up your test case directly from test suite or from folder structure. This is the easiest way to do that. Once the test scope is defined by selecting your test cases, you are good to go to next step to create test cycle for your assignment and execution. Let me just open the second test cycle to have a quick look. You see all test cases we defined in the test plan will be loaded here. And if I switch to test suite wheel, you will see the test suite structure. And then you can find your test cases there, and then you can put your result there. It's quite easy and straightforward. And definitely you can do some other options, like you can select your test executions and then assign them to a different testers, or you can use bulk operation to update your test result. Now, let me open an execution from this list. Let's say for this particular test case I want to execute, I can just simply click on the execute button. And then if there's a defect, I can simply add a defects by using create new icon. The defect will be linked to this particular test run automatically. This is the way to establish the connection between defect and execution. You also can update the result step by step like this way. And for the step level, you can put your notes here, or you can upload some evidence, for example, attachment or logs or error message or whatever. You can put all this information, and then you can close. The result will be updated here automatically. So if you don't want to, execute the execution window, we still give you option to update result from here directly. It will be a easier way to do your quick result update. And you also can click here to assign the execution to different testers. It's quite simple. This is how test planning, assignment, result update, defect reporting works inside our test planning and execution feature. Let's go back to test plan. Why we have this test cycle concept? The reason behind is that we notice that a lot of users, the same set of test cases need to be executed from multiple platforms or browsers or configurations, right? So inside TestRay, it is not necessary for you to create multiple test plans anymore. You can just create one test plan and then create multiple cycles to make sure those test cases be executed with multiple iterations. Multiple iterations means maybe different platforms, maybe different browsers, maybe different databases. It really depends how you use the product. Okay, this is the second part, test planning and execution. So now let's go back to the third part, how we connect our requirement with test artifacts. So on the left side, there's a requirements page. So TestRay also provides you a central space to group and categorize your requirement. You see here, you can also create folder structure for your requirement. This is not only for test keys. You can also build your requirement structure here by using our requirement suite. So in the folder, you can put your requirements there like this way. Besides this one, for requirement itself, we build requirement hierarchy to make sure that the requirements can be broken down to smaller pieces. Let's say, let's open this user story. If you open that, you see you can check. This is the parent requirement. This is an epic issue type. And then this epic issue type is broken down to smaller pieces, several stories. And then maybe the story is not specific enough. User has to break it down to even smaller pieces as some dev tasks. So it will be very easier to do such kind of breakdown. Let's say I want to create another child. I can just simply click on the create child button and then choose my task and then give like task and then create. The creation is down and the hierarchy is built like this way. The track is quite easy in our TestRay product. So in the next panel, test cases, it helps user to build relations between your testing team and your dev team or product team. Let's say when you launch your requirement, you may want to check, okay, what is my test cases? Then you can find it. If you want to read more, okay, what is execution details or what is the last time execution result? Just keep going. To expand your test case, here we'll show the test case execution history on the top. This is the latest execution result. If you click on that, you will see the test case execution information, what is the result, when executed, etc. All this information is visible. And when we say we are going to check the content of my requirement, we also want to know what is the related defects from this particular requirement. You can just go to this right side for the defects panel. It lists all the requirements, all the defects reported against this particular requirement. So this is how the requirement, test case, test result, and defect connected together. So when we are talking about requirement, you say usually user want to know, okay, what is the traceability matrix? So traceability matrix is a report to show the traceability information from a list of requirement to test case to result to defect. So TestRay provides a separate report, which is called traceability here. You can filter your requirement, you can filter your test plan, and then you will get a report. Let's just load a report by using this. You see in this requirement filter. I want to get all these requirement in sprint 1. And also I want to filter my test plan from sprint 84. So let's see how this traceability matrix looks. The first column are the requirements we get from the search. And then the second column are the test cases we associated to this requirement. The third column is the test plan from where execution has been done. If you see this colored block, right, see this red means it is failed. If you click on that, execution details pop up. If you see there's a bug icon, means there's a defect, at least one defect reported against this requirement. So in other words, the traceability matrix means get the information from your requirement to test case, to test result, to defect. Everything is just displayed in one page. And if you scroll down, see here, there are some blank rows. So it will indicate that testing team didn't create any test cases for the requirement. In other words, maybe those requirements are not covered during the testing. So it is a signal that to ask your QA team to create some test cases to cover this requirement. And then besides all these 3 parts, I also want to introduce some reports. We have gadgets here, TestRay gadgets to help user to track the brief status of your testing. We have part chart, we have breakdown chart, we have tabular data. We also have like executions by tester to monitor the tester status. I mean the test execution assignment information and the execution status, how many passed, how many failed, and how many defects reported from this testing team. Yep, that's pretty much for today's demo. Yeah, I will hand it over to Karthik. So if anybody have any question, just let me know and I will give you the proper answer. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jenny. From this particular, presentation, what I see that there could be some key takeaways, right? So,
Yeah.
In terms of fostering collaboration, maybe, or something of that sort. So, what are the few takeaways from this?
Okay. Here you see, let's switch back to my Slack slides. Here is the key takeaways here. So first of all, we can foster collaboration within the Jira environment. So we can break down the requirements to smaller pieces. I mean, we provide the hierarchy there. And also we improve the project visibility. It means you can just track everything. I mean, let's say track your test cases from a requirement. You also can track your requirement from test cases. And if you open your defects, you are able to see which requirement is impacted and from which test case the issue is reported. So we also optimize the test case management, as I mentioned. So we provide the test suite concept to make sure that test cases can be organized into a folder structure in order to get a logic way when the execution is started. And also we have we provide actionable insights for quick and informed decision making. So let's see, when you see your traceability matrix, a list of requirements, then you will immediately get the result from test plans. Then you can make a decision. These requirements can be closed, or there are still some bugs there. We need further code fix or something like that. So all these benefits are from TestRay. So the final goal is that we want to make sure that the product team, the dev team, the testing team, they can all work together into just one system, Jira, to finish all of their daily works. Yeah, thanks.
Sure. Thank you, Jenny. And that was very insightful. Have few questions from the audience. All right. So does TestRay support automation testing?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, let me introduce a little bit for that. So TestRay have some integration with Jenkins and Bamboo. So you can trigger the Jenkins job from TestRay or from Jira directly, and then we can capture the result from your Jenkins. And also we provide list of public REST API to help users to update the result, to create defect. All these are prepared to support automation team. Yes, we do support automation.
Does TestRay support checking the test result from agile dashboards or agile boards?
Oh, it is a good question. So inside Jira, you see Jira dashboard or Jira Agile board is quite important feature, or is also quite popular in Jira. So let's just open the Agile board. We do integrate it with this Agile board. If you see there's a number test info 4, if you click on that, here we have test info 4 means there are 4 test cases linked to the requirement, and you will see the result from the test case list. So we don't want to, put all of my test cases or the test cases into the sprint, because usually we have large amount of test cases. So we give you a panel. If you click on the number, it will pop up a dialog box from where you can just go ahead and see your test cases there. Yeah, we support that. Thank you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Does TestRay support both data center and cloud versions, or you only have cloud version?
We support all Jira platform types. For example, we support Jira Server, we support Jira Cloud, we support Jira Data Center as well. But Jira TestRay Cloud and TestRay Server, we have the same concept, but the UI is a little bit different because we have to follow Jira native architecture, because Jira Cloud and Jira Server, the architecture is totally different. So we just make a little bit difference for the UI, but the main functionalities, they are exactly same.
All right. So how fast we can hook up to TestRay?
It's quite easy, no matter it is from Jira Cloud or Jira Server. So you can just go to your admin page, and then here you can just find apps. You can just type TestRay, you will find it, and then install will just spend like 1 or 2 minutes. It will be installed.
Right.
And the configuration is quite simple. You can get the information from our online documentation. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Setting up, TestRay happens within the matter of minutes. Brilliant. I don't see any other questions right now. And in the interest of time, we will wind up this session. And I once again thank you everyone for joining this session. And I hope you all found this particular webinar very informative and engaging. And please do not forget to follow us on the social media handles for future events and updates. Thank you, Jenny, for very much. Thank you, Jenny, for your time, and look forward to continuing with you shortly.
Thank you. Thank you, Karthik. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.